go. Today, I am going to go to my first time at school today.
How are you feeling?
Excited. I'm feeling a lot of emotion.
Are you feeling a couple of emotions?
A lot of, like, all of them. So,
Yeah.
like, so excited.
What are you going to say when you get there?
Ciao. It's Willa. I love it raining.
Ready to go have a great day? This is where Sissy's going to school and you in the fall.
Yeah, Noah's going to come here too.
Oh, this will be so fun. High five. Let's do it.
I poke my head through. Hey.
Where's Sissy? School. Good job. Just dropped Willa off at school, her first day at Italian school. And how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot of different emotions. This is like her last childcare until she goes to first grade. I don't want to say like I'm regretting her going, but I'm totally recognizing this is like the last opportunity that I have to just keep her home if I want. So for selfish reasons, I'm like, no, I want her to be home with Noah and I. Noah and Willa play really well, and it was a really hard goodbye for Noah.
Noah was like, play. He wanted to stay and play.
Yeah, mixed feelings because I'm just like, oh, my baby girl's growing up, our baby girl's growing up, but I do think this is going to help set her up for first grade. She's going to start learning the language. It's all in Italian. She's going to make friends that hopefully will move on to her next school. This is the best thing for Willa, and she's been so excited. She's been counting down the days until Italian school.
She'd wake up in the morning like, it's only 5 more days. Not just like the day or two before, like 5 more days. So we're really proud to see her just gain a lot of that confidence.
I think she's going to do awesome, and I think she's just amazing, but she's growing up, and that's like the reality of being a parent. Oh, this is tough stuff we do, sending these kids to school.
She's just going for 2 hours today and tomorrow and just gonna adjust to the environment, to the teachers, to the kids, before she starts going more full-time starting next week.
So to provide a little more detail, she's going to a private Asilo, and there is a public option and a private one. We chose this one just because this is the one that Noah's going to go to. So we wanted to like create that rapport, get familiar with it, make sure this is where we want Noah to go for many years.
Mm-hmm. Willa, how was your first few hours at your new school?
Fine. I kind of cried because she forgot to add my water bottle.
We had put it in your locker and forgot about it. But luckily she kept it there, so you'll have it tomorrow, huh? Did you wish that you could stay longer?
What did you do?
Painted?
Can I sit in the back by you? I missed you. Can I sit by you?
Yeah.
I'll make this brief because I'm competing with Cinderella, but today was Willa's 4th day of school, and she's loving it so far. Absolutely loving it. So we'll share more soon. Willa?
Yes.
So tell me what you ate for lunch. Beans? You had green peas?
Yes. It's a miracle for me to so much.
Alright, flash forward a little bit. We are rounding out her 3rd week at her school, and honestly it's been a lot of fun to see how she's progressed and some of the things that she's been doing. So today I have what was more recently done was a little activity. This is one where they are practicing English, and it was fun. We got to see a video on the little like group chat of all of the parents that she was saying the English portion of the book Brown Bear, What Do You See? And they did a blue horse this time, so really fun. Got to do their hands and paint. This fell off. But just like really fun activities that we've been able to see them. And then they did these little fun characters as well, so really fun to see just the different crafts and things that they're doing. One thing we have noticed at this school is that she does not like to be late. She loves going and playing with her friends before they start like classes or structured activities in the morning. So a few times this week we've been running late, like I've been dropping her off and she slept in, and she shows up and she's just not as excited because she missed that time to play. And it totally makes sense. And then on the flip side, in the afternoon, I know Risa has told me a few times that when she goes to pick her up in the afternoon, if she's there too early, then she's a little upset because she didn't get to spend the time like playing with her friends at the end of the day too. So we're happy that she has those feelings, that she's excited to go and she's excited to stay. But of course we miss her a lot, and we're really excited when we get to pick her up. And most days she is very happy to be coming home. Now, even though we've been sharing some good positive news from her experience, it doesn't mean that she hasn't had mornings or even afternoons where she says she didn't have a good time, or she didn't want to go, or that she's had a hard time understanding them. I think she has been through enough schools at this point that she understands what different languages are and that it takes some time to learn, but it still is hard for her. We really are proud of her and her resiliency to be able to make new friends, to be able to use the universal language of play, and to slowly begin learning Italian, which she is doing quite well. I picked her up yesterday and she was already saying ciao and si and other little phrases to her friends, and just really showing that she was feeling more confident in hearing the language and then speaking some of it. All very basic at this point. One thing we noticed in Germany and Japan and here in Italy is that she really connects with music, and that's one of the ways that she has learned all of those languages, through rhythm, through beat, through words. And the other day at dinner, she was singing this song in Italian, and I still need to find out what song it is because it sounded like she was saying something about butts, like the English word butts. And I know they're not talking about butts, but I still want to find out what it is so that we can learn with her and help her progress.
Fast forward a couple more weeks and we're here in our hotel. As you can see, yes, we're still in our hotel, but thankfully we are about to move out. So stay tuned for an upcoming video where we share with you our Italian house. I'm so excited. But continuing on from where Tanner left off, Willa is still singing the song. However, she is not saying the word but anymore. Honestly, she's forgetting some of the lyrics, and so I don't really know what she is saying. Maybe there are words that I don't know in Italian yet, or sometimes she'll just like make up her word. But she is definitely picking up the language. Even recently we had a friend over, she was on a play date, and both Tanner and I heard her say allora and then keep on talking to her friend, and Tanner and I just like looked at each other and we're like, she's just like casually speaking common Italian word and just continuing on her English sentence. I don't even think she realized she said it. She's gonna be picking up fast, and my goal is to keep up with her. And so far, I would say my language Italian learning experience has been great. And so much of that is thanks to Lingoda. I've noticed my confidence grow quite a bit. Now, I have to be honest, I'm starting at the basic beginner classes. I wish I could say I'm starting further on like Tanner would be, but that's not the case. And I feel like I've been grasping a lot, but it's so different than being in person with like a live teacher and other peers. It really puts me in a position where I have to practice it, I have to speak out loud. And for me, that's been the most helpful and useful way of learning. In fact, like right after the class, oftentimes I'm headed to the grocery store and using what I've just learned in my interactions at the grocery store. Here's some footage from my very first class with them. So be kind because, you know, I'm learning. Ciao.
Ciao ragazzi, ciao Tanner, come va?
Bene, io sono Marisa. Come si dice in italiano?
Benissimo, come si dice in italiano? Perfetto.
L'articolo di amore è l'apostrofe? L'amore?
Brava, l'amore.
Qual è l'articolo di stagione?
Marisa, chiedimi.
Now that I've taken a few more classes, I can watch that footage back and just see my progress. Like, it's very noticeable and it's fun to see. So aside from speaking with a live teacher and having other individuals in the classroom, I love using their self-study materials and looking at it before the class starts, so I feel like I'm gonna be able to keep up because most of it is like all in Italian. And then after the class is over, they have like flashcards and other self-study materials that you can use and continue practicing what you just learned in the class. Like, it's such an effective way to learn. And although I'm taking notes during the class, I'm still using the material to go back after and practice some of those things that I didn't write down. Speaking from my experience, where I do not learn languages that easy, I've loved Lingoda's program, and you can really grasp onto a new language. Click the link in our video description box, choose your intensity, and save €20 or $25 US when signing up with our link, RStory25. Okay, so now that we've talked about how Will is doing, doing within her class, how her Italian language is coming, how my Italian is coming. We thought it would be fun to share more of like the logistics and details about Italian Asilo. We kind of already talked about the time that Willa's attending school, but just very briefly, drop off is between 8 to 9, and then pickup is between like 3:30 to 4. We pay for her to go to her private Asilo, €175 per month. So included in that cost is food for her, and then also she does quite a bit of crafts and activities. We haven't had to pay for like any paint, crayons. The only other additional cost we've had is, I want to say like 15, maybe it was €18 for an activity book. If you're capitalizing the time, that would be 8 hours a day from 8 to 4, 5 days a week. And it's €175 per month. If we compare cost to her Yochin in Japan, we paid close to $100 per month. And her hours at her Yochin, 8:15 to 1:45 p.m. So it was a little bit shorter. However, it was noticeably cheaper, and it did include transportation. So a bus would come and pick her up right in front of our front door and drop her off. It was very convenient. Both here in Italy, in Japan, she was getting home cooked meals on site, so at the schools, and in Japan she had a dietitian and like chefs at her Yochin. Here I don't think they're necessarily like a professional chef. When we talked to them, they said it was like a local woman in their community, and she was a cuoca or cook. For us, that is more than okay with us. She's probably a great chef, and I mean, when I think of Italian cooking, especially homemade Italian cooking, that's like amazing. So we have no complaints. Both have been amazing, in the food options and food variety has been great. I'll talk more about that in another day. The Italian one honestly has been our most expensive one, considering all of Willa's childcare experience. I wanted to compare the cost to Germany. When Willa was 3 years old, she transferred into German kindergarten, and her kindergarten was actually free. She had an amazing experience at her German kindergarten, and it has just set her up for success in all of her other childcare opportunities in Japan and here in Italy. I feel like Germany is where she really gained the confidence. She started to love her childcare experiences, and from comparing costs, both, as you can see, have been very affordable. If Willa was to go to a public school, we did a tour of her school and we liked it. Again, the only reason we chose the private was because Noah can go when she's 2. We didn't want to wait till she was 3. But if she was to go to private, she would just have to pay for food alone. And the cost for food was €5 per day. If you add that up, I want to say it was like €115 to €120 per month. So about €50 cheaper than the private one. So there is a noticeable cost difference, and if that was our main focus, then we would have put her in public. We feel so incredibly lucky we've been able to be here in Europe and in Japan, where childcare is affordable, it's accessible. It's been a huge thing for me. Earlier in the video, you saw my like emotions with sending Willa to school. There was a moment where I definitely second guessed like sending her off for the last time before she went into public school. I've also needed that help and support. That's one thing living abroad, is I don't have the support from my family, from Willa's grandparents to watch her when they're available. You know, her aunts and uncles, my friends, like that's not an option. In time, we hope it will be, but be exposed to new languages and meet some amazing individuals through her attending school. We're going to continue talking about childcare. So here in Italy, like I said, she's got a chef on site, a lady from like the commune who comes and makes their meals. And we've got a menu from them, so I'm going to read a couple of the meals. Here's like one example of the meal. Pasta with tomato, Asiago cheese, raw vegetables. The next day, soup in chicken broth with milk and sage, raw vegetables on the side, and boiled potatoes. We'll do like a week's worth of menus. Pumpkin risotto with seasonal vegetables, lentils with sauce, including cooked ham, and raw vegetables. Potato gnocchi with meat ragu, raw vegetables, and yogurt. And then to end out the week, she had legume pasta with some baked breadsticks and raw vegetables. We're very happy with these meals. She's getting carbohydrates, protein, fiber, minerals, vitamins. We love her exposure to raw and cooked vegetables. She's like loving it. She absolutely loves pasta days. She loves risotto days. And she told me that the pumpkin soup here in Italy she really likes, because in Japan she didn't love their pumpkin soup there, I guess. Me as a dietitian, I have loved the exposure she's got to both types of cuisine in Japan, and now here in Italy it's awesome. The schedules here for the childcare seems very similar. Like the children have about an hour for drop-up time. After that, they're gonna go into their classrooms, have some playtime activities, have some outdoor time or gym time, and then it's lunch. And then something that I found really honestly kind of unique to the childcare here in Italy is if they're anywhere from like 2 to 4 to 5, all of the classes except for the last one are taking a nap. And it's like a long nap time. Like I was actually really impressed. I think they dedicate like 2 hours to nap time post lunch, and oftentimes lunch started around like 11 a.m. and then it was like they were going outside for a little bit, and then nap time started anywhere from like 12:30 to 1, and then it would go to like 3. So of course, like the kids, they knew that like kids aren't always going to sleep during the time they told us, but they really trying to emphasize quiet time. It's not necessarily playtime. It's a time for them to rest, and they really focus on that. And then after, I think they play, maybe do another activity, and then it's like pick up at 3:30 to 4. We've never had nap time in even kindergarten in Germany. In Japan, she was 4 years old when she went, and they didn't do any nap time. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting when Noah starts, because I'm just curious to see how the nap time works. We might do the full day option, or we might do a half day option, leaning towards a half day option, especially knowing that a lot of it's nap time, because, you know, I can just do a nap at home and spend a little bit more time with her. But I think it's also awesome that they're like encouraging that rest that's needed in these, you know, young children's mind. Okay, what do they wear now? This is something that actually was kind of surprising to me, is how simple it was to have Willa just start her Italian school. And that's probably because we came from Japan. When we moved to Japan and she started in her Yochin, they gave us like a packet, like a thick packet of all of the materials she'd need and all of like her uniform instructions. It was a big learning curve. So if you've watched that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. We had to get so many things. We had to send her with like an emergency bag with like canned food. She had to have a helmet. She also had an adorable uniform. So all of the kids were wearing the same thing. But in the uniform itself, there's a lot of different articles, and they were specific for a season. She needed a shovel with like digging gloves when they would go on their field trip. Really cool opportunity she was given, but the uniforms and all of the materials, it was like a big learning curve. We were like sewing, writing her name in Japanese. I mean, it took time. We had to go shopping at many different stores to accumulate it all. In Germany, she needed indoor shoes and then Matschhosen, which are like the waterproof overalls that they put on top of their clothes. That was our first exposure to Matschhosen, and we loved them so much. Our girls still have worn them in Italy. On a rainy day, they put those on with their rain boots. They go out and have a blast. Here in Italy, we asked them what they needed, and literally they just told us like rain boots. So at her school, she has rain boots and I think like a beanie. We'll take like her coat with us, you know, every day as of now, but that's it. She doesn't need Matschhosen. They didn't ask her for it. She doesn't even wear indoor shoes. I think that's the most surprising thing for me, because in all of the childcare we've experienced, they've all had indoor shoes. Yeah, they just wear their same shoes like the entire time. I like the idea of changing just for like the cleanliness, but it's been really convenient as well as a parent, not having to like purchase new things. And then last thing I want to talk about was the time spent outside. Right now it's winter time. We totally get that. But I have been surprised at how little and infrequent she has been going outside. And I have another friend who just actually moved to Italy, and her daughter has been going to an Italian asilo as well. And she said the same thing, like she's just been surprised that they haven't been going outside. Especially on the days where it's not rainy. It's kind of cold, but it's not rainy. For me, like, I would love her to get as much outdoor time as she can. And sometimes she says, you know, no, we didn't go outside. So if there was anything to like maybe hope would be a little different, having more time spent outside. Also, I know it's just early and we haven't been here that long, so we'll have to fill that out more and see what it's like. But they are doing so many fun activities. In fact, she came home with this yesterday. It's cute because they're starting to expose the older class, Willa's class, to English, which is super cool for them as well. And since Willa's she's the only English speaker at her class, like the only American that's going, which I also love because she's straight on getting full exposure to full Italian. But with that, it's been fun where they're having their like English class, and I'll share why. So they were reading the book Brown Bear, What Do You See? It's very common in America, and that's what they're like learning about here. So they're reading the book, and this one was like, a green frog. I see a green frog looking at me. Willa yesterday had came into the car and was like, brown bear, brown bear. And I was like, oh, brown bear. Yeah, you know how to say that. And she's like, yeah, that's how it is brown bear. And I was like, well, Willa, you speak English. Like, that's your first language, you know. So you could just say like brown bear. And it's not that she's like getting confused on what her first language is. She is just so used to like hearing how people say things and then repeating it that I don't even think she realized like she could still say it brown bear, like how she in her American accent would say it. You know, she doesn't have to say brown bear with an Italian accent. So it's just like so funny. And we've had that experience many times. Like literally sometimes in the car, Tanner will be speaking Italian with her because we're trying to, you know, learn Italian as well. And she'll be like, no, Dad, speak the other language. And we're like, English? She's like, is that the one that we normally speak? We're like, yeah. She's like, okay. So I just love that her like brain is just like a sponge. She's just like hearing the languages, repeating it, doesn't even really know what her first language is called. Willa, it's English. But honestly, we're so proud of her. Even like the first week of her half day, she would come in the car and be like, Mom, I know everything that they're saying. I was like, that's awesome. In my head, knowing like there's no way she could like be fully knowing Italian. But like, I think she's just so good at like catching on to body language, making assumptions of what they mean, that like she is catching on already really quick. I love it. So she thinks she already knows Italian and she's already starting to speak it. Like we had her little friend over, an American friend. So they're speaking English together and she was like, allora, just like out of the whim, and Tanner and I were like, yay! When we're talking sometimes with her, she'll be like, see. It's just awesome because all of us are like speaking this weird language where we still speak some German, we still speak English for the majority, and now we're like speaking Italian. So it's like this mixture. But all of that to say, whether it was Germany, Japan, or here in Italy, we have just absolutely loved the opportunities that Willa's had, that our whole family has been able to take part in through childcare. Thanks for being here. We hope you found this video enjoyable. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button. It really does make a difference for the algorithm and we appreciate it. And again, stay tuned, you guys. We're about to move in. Bless up. Ciao.